You thought it was about sex. You thought it was about a moment of weakness. You thought if she cheated, it meant she was a bad person. But the truth about female infidelity is far darker, far more clinical, and rooted in a psychological process that completely bypasses guilt. Today, we're tearing down the comforting myths and exposing the 3 brutal psychological justifications women use to rationalize cheating in their minds, often before the act even happens. This isn't about morality. It's about understanding how the female mind uses cognitive dissonance and hypergamous selection to rewrite reality. I'm going to show you how your own behavior, your comfort, your availability, your emotional investment unintentionally provides the psychological permission slip she needs to seek validation elsewhere. This hard truth will shatter your illusions, but it's the only path to protecting your emotional sovereignty. You're standing there, looking at the evidence, the hidden texts, the lies, the undeniable betrayal. Your mind races, seeking a logical explanation. Was it the alcohol? Was it revenge? Was she just a bad person all along? You search for a reason that fits the narrative of simple failure or accident. But the reality is this: the mind is a master of self-preservation, especially when faced with the agonizing conflict between feeling desire for another man and maintaining the identity of a good partner. That conflict is called cognitive dissonance, and to resolve it, her mind doesn't change the action, it changes the narrative. The uncomfortable truth that 97% of men fail to grasp is that most infidelity isn't justified with "he was more attractive." It's justified with "I was forced to do this because my fundamental emotional and biological needs were not being met by a man who had already failed me." She turns herself from the villain into the victim. And your own stable, reliable behavior often writes the first draft of her justification. This isn't about misogyny or blame. This is about confronting the brutal, ancient psychological programming that is still running in the modern dating landscape. If you're ready to stop being confused and start understanding the cold, clinical logic of infidelity, you need to be committed to seeing the truth clearly. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. We only deal in hard, uncomfortable truths that actually empower you to navigate the real world of dating and relationships, and you don't want to miss what comes next. Let's break down the 3 primary ways the female mind justifies the unjustifiable. The first psychological justification is the devaluation anchor, rewriting your value. Before a woman steps across the line, her mind must first psychologically disinvest from you. She cannot see herself as a good person betraying a high-value committed partner. To resolve that dissonance, her mind anchors onto every perceived flaw, every minor failure, and every moment of low-frame behavior you have exhibited and amplifies it to become the sole cause of the relationship's demise. Think of it this way. The other man isn't the reason, he's the evidence that the relationship was already dead. You, the committed man, become the devaluation anchor. Consider the case of a man, let's call him Jason. Jason worked hard, paid me mortgage, and was emotionally available. But he slowly let his physical health decline, and he started relying on his wife for all emotional processing, often complaining to her about his job stress. When his wife began a flirtatious relationship at work, her mind didn't say, "I am cheating on my husband." Her mind said, "Jason stopped taking care of himself and became emotionally weak. He failed his duty as my masculine provider, and therefore I am simply seeking the emotional strength he no longer possesses." She reframes your decline, your failure to maintain your SMV, as the pre-existing condition that gives her permission to seek competence elsewhere. Your lack of sovereign frame becomes the justification for her disloyalty. The other man isn't seen as better. He is simply seen as filling the gaping hole you created by becoming weak, predictable, and too available. She has to convince herself that you forced her into the arms of another man by failing to be the high-value partner she needed. The second brutal justification is the illusion of inevitability, the "it was already over" myth. This psychological mechanism is particularly prevalent in long-term relationships, where the marriage has become comfortable, safe, and devoid of challenge. As we've discussed, attraction thrives on tension and uncertainty. When a woman feels completely secure, completely certain of your presence, and completely certain of her ability to predict and control your emotions, the attraction dies.
Her mind then employs the illusion of inevitability. She tells herself that the spark died long ago and that the marriage was nothing more than a co-parenting arrangement or a business contract. The cheating then isn't seen as an act of destruction. It's seen as an act of necessary termination and self-discovery. I'll give you a common analogy that demonstrates this clinical detachment. Imagine a high-powered executive, a woman named Karen. Karen felt completely unfulfilled in her 20-year marriage. Her husband, who was extremely kind and loyal, had become emotionally passive. Karen joined a cycling group and met a volatile, exciting, emotionally dominant man. Her husband begged and pleaded for her to stay, arguing that their shared history and commitment mattered. Karen's mind refused to accept guilt because she had already mentally divorced him years ago. Her justification was simple. I deserve to be happy, and since he failed to maintain the passion, I am ethically entitled to end the contract and seek my happiness elsewhere. She prioritizes her personal, emotional fulfillment, her biological, hypergamous need for passion, over the relational contract she made with the partner who was only providing security. She isn't leaving for another man. She's leaving from a dead relationship, and the other man is just the shovel she uses to bury it. This level of psychological self-deception, the ability to divorce oneself from the blame, is a hallmark of infidelity and a critical concept to understand for your own self-preservation. If you're seeing these patterns clearly for the first time and you realize how your own emotional vulnerability may be feeding this cycle, then you need to stick around. This is a battle of frames, and you need to be armed with the truth. To keep receiving the hard-hitting, psychology-based lessons that empower you, subscribe to this channel now and hit the notification bell. You can't fight a war when you don't know the enemy's strategy. The third and most dangerous justification is the validation arbitrage, sourcing external SMV. This is the justification rooted most deeply in hypergamy and modern culture's addiction to validation. In her mind, she is not being disloyal. She is simply sourcing the validation that you are supposed to provide but have failed to deliver. In a long-term committed relationship, the man's attention, compliments, and presence often lose their high-value appeal. They become that predictable vending machine reward. They no longer provide the necessary dopamine hit of high SMV validation that she is accustomed to receiving from the wider world. Her mind then justifies infidelity as an act of validation arbitrage, getting a feeling of high SMV worth from a new man who sees her as the prize, and then bringing that validation back into the relationship. Take the case of a married mother of two. Let's call her Michelle. Michelle's husband was a kind, stable man, but she felt invisible. She started receiving highly charged, specific attention from a man at her son's school, a single father who treated her with an intensity her husband had long forgotten. Her husband provided security. The single father provided intense, high-voltage validation. Michelle's justification was not, "I want to ruin my family." It was, "My husband has allowed me to feel unwanted and undesired for too long. This new man reminds me that I am still valuable and attractive." She wasn't seeking a new life. She was seeking a temporary emotional transaction that reassured her SMV was still high. In her mind, the husband failed to maintain the tension of attraction by becoming too comfortable, too passive, too predictable. Therefore, she was forced to seek a reflection of her true, high-value self in the eyes of another man. Your failure to maintain a high frame, sovereign, slightly out-of-reach presence becomes the ethical reason she needs to commit the emotional crime. The antidote to all three of these justifications, devaluation, inevitability, and arbitrage, is the same. Reestablish and maintain your high-value frame. You must become the man who is impossible to devalue because his worth is rooted internally. You must become the man whose presence is never inevitable because his mission is always primary. You must become the man who provides such sovereign, high-value attention that seeking external validation is pointless. The only way to achieve this is through unwavering self-sovereignty. Being genuinely unbothered by her attempts to test your limits, being committed to a purpose larger than the relationship, and enforcing zero-tolerance boundaries for disrespect. Stop trying to negotiate her commitment. Start embodying the strength that commands it. If you're ready to stop being the man whose stable love is treated as permission for her disloyalty, and you're ready to master the psychological game of attraction and respect, then it's time for action. This is the truth that will set you free, but only if you internalize it and apply it. Subscribe to this channel now and join the ranks of men who understand the game and choose to win by elevating their own internal value. Hit that notification bell and commit to being the kind of man whose betrayal is simply psychologically impossible to justify.